Light. दादा मात घ्या दादा दादा मुझे लाइट नहीं
Lights, more lights please. Can we have two people come on stage just to move this light?
दादा this side दादा दादा इधर लेफ्ट टू राइट Thank you.
Okay, we have one more photo opportunity because we have so many people wanting to click so many photographs. We have a badge and I request both the gentlemen to sign the badge. Can we have the backdrop go for the stage, please? Alright, after much excitement of photo opportunities, it's time for us to dive into some discussions. And thank you, Dada, for coming and joining us and for accepting the brand ambassador role for Bandhan Bank. We jump right into the year that announced the arrival of the Royal Bengal Tiger. This is 1996. While all of us know about the debut that happened in Lords, there is one match which actually told Dada internally that he could do it on the large scale. So we go into Old Trafford on 26th of May 1996. We have a video to just show you.
There is Glichan Tenuka. And that's a wide one from Cook, which in fact can give his man the gap for. Playing on his own ground. He's got it for the point. China's taking the head right to the England camp there with that shot, Sourav Ganguly. Oh, that's brilliant work. That's brilliant work from Alex Stewart. It's been a very good innings from Ganguly. 46 from 83 balls. India 118 for 3.
A match where you were brought in one down, not the usual position that you would have thought you would bat on. And it had been 4 years, 4 months, 16 days since that match in Australia. And you knew this was an opportunity. What was going on in your mind? How did you maintain the composure?
You know, this was in Old Trafford. It was the last game of the one-day series. It was a 3 series, 3-match series against England. And then we were supposed to play the 3 test matches where I went on to make a debut at Lords after this. I did not know till morning that I was playing. It was raining heavily in Old Trafford. You know, young Sachin, he had just started opening in one-day cricket. So as we were warming up and training, because it was so cold and the match got delayed because of rain. It rains a lot in Manchester, and this was in the month of May. So it's the early part of the summer, and there was a lot of rain. So as we were going around the ground, warming up, I was told I'm playing. And obviously I was very excited to play for India. Azhar lost the toss. Azhar was captain, he lost the toss, and England put us in because it was so overcast and so cloudy and raining. So there was a lot of seeming conditions for the fast bowlers. And before I could put my pads on and get ready at number 3, Sachin was out. He was out in the first over of Dominic Cork. So before I could put my head in place, think, overthink, think the right thing, think the wrong thing, I was inside. And sometimes it's good actually. Sometimes when you are straight pushed into the job without giving too much thoughts about it, you actually react to situations. And all what I did that day was I just reacted to the ball coming out of the bowler's hand. I batted for a while. I got 46 as you saw. I should have went on to get a 50. After playing the best fast bowlers and the best English bowlers, I got out to a part-time bowler in Graham Thorpe, and that too down the leg side. But it gave me a lot of confidence. It gave me a lot of belief that I can actually play at that level. And then about 3 weeks later, went on to play the test match in Lords and scored 100 on debut.
And what happened 3 weeks later? We have a video for that.
Oh, lovely shot. 50 for Sourav Ganguly. On a very pleasant way to reach the landmark. 50 in his first test match innings. What a shot to reach his 50. Easily the shot of the morning so far.
And certainly not after that. Interested. It was a really good delivery from Mullally.
Thankfully, it was Ricky Bird.
Brilliant innings. Played wonderfully well. 340 minutes, 237 for space, 17 fours, and none better than the last one.
So the entire audience at Lords in their suits and ties, and what an applause. I'm just wondering if this had happened in Eden, and they would have brought the place down. But then a few years later, you told them how cheering needs to be done from the balcony of Lords. We'll come to that later. But what a debut, and we've seen the journey after that. But we've also heard it was difficult to be from the East to establish yourself in the national side, because the feeling was East se cricketer nahi ban sakta, koi captain nahi ban sakta. How did you handle this bias that was there towards the East of the country in the national side?
I think before me it was the great Pankaj Roy, who played from the East and from Bengal. And then there was a long gap after that. Players came in, played 1 or 2 matches and did not make a mark, and then had to be replaced. So I would be absolutely not honest if I say that they believe that East lacked talent. East lacked talent at that level. So there were a lot of very good players in the first class level, the domestic level, but when it went to the next level, they were not strong enough to go and get 100 or play for a long period of time. See, those things did not bother me, because I never believe in the past, I never believe in history. I only believe in that particular moment and that particular day. For me, there was an opportunity. I had played a lot of cricket before that. I was on the tour of Australia in '91 and didn't play for 4 years after that before I played at Lord's, and to be precise at the Old Trafford, the first clip you saw. For me, it was living in that moment, and I kept saying after that I went on to play 113 Test matches and 313 one-day matches for India. Only one of the three who played 100 Tests and 300 one-days for India, the other two being Sachin and Rahul Dravid, and I'm sure Virat will get past it very, very soon. So one of the three who played in the complete generation of Indian cricketers. So for me, I was just happy being there at Lord's. A great venue. We used to live right across the footpath, and with the hotel is called Danubius now. It used to be called the Holiday when we were playing. And I used to walk across, have breakfast in the morning, and just walk across the road to get into the great venue. And I don't know whether you've seen a game at Lord's. It's fantastic. It's iconic when you enter the game in the morning, and after that I've gone back to play many a number of matches. Went back as captain, went back as commentator, went back as an administrator. So I could see the history behind the ground. How people come and enjoy it. It's an event. I got this 100 on a Saturday. So a Saturday at Lord's is completely packed. There's not one seat empty because it's a holiday, it's a weekend in England, and people come and watch Test cricket. And England is still a place where Test cricket is alive. It was very much alive during our generation because there was no T20, and then obviously T20 cricket came in, the faster cricket came in, and in many places Test matches have started to take a backseat. But England, Lord's, Oval are still the venues where Test cricket is still watched and looked after. So I got 100, I was overnight batting on 27, and when you showed these clips, I remember every shot. And I can tell you, the last shot of the second day evening was the pull shot of Chris Lewis. And then when I came back next morning, I started my innings with that flick, which went for 4, and then went on to bat till D. So after so many years, I still remember every innings of it. And I say to everyone that, I went on to play so many matches for India after that, captained so many matches for India after that. But my mindset on that game was the best in my career. Because I did not look too far ahead. I did not look at the scoreboard. I just played every ball. I just played every ball and tried my best every ball. And I performed a small ritual during the entire innings of 6-7 hours I batted. I used to look to score every 10 runs. So when I took guard, my first target was let me get to 10. And when I got to 10, my next target was let me get to 20. Once I get to 20, I would look to get to 30 because it kept my concentration. It kept me focused because sometimes when you take guard and look and say, I need to get 100, it's too far. It's too far. And I'm sure as Bandhan Bank, Mr. Ghosh, who started this from scratch, from zero 20 years ago, and obviously the bank is 7 years old now. He also have progressed this way. Today, deposits and assets are worth 1 lakh crore. I don't know exactly the number of customers you have around the world, around the country. 65,000 employees who work for Bandhan Bank. It's not happened the first day in 20 years. He's built it brick by brick, year after year, month after month, day after day, and he's achieved where he is now. And it's the same thing in life. It's the same thing in sport. When you look at quick success, it does not happen in anything. And for me that day, it was 10 runs, 10 runs at a time. And then after 6 hours, I saw I was batting on 90. So I said, I need another 10 runs. Then I got to 100 and then went on to get 130. So life, achievements, progresses is about small goals as you keep getting forward. You don't become Chandrasekhar Ghosh one day, you don't become Sachin Tendulkar in one day, you don't become an Ambani in one day, or you don't become a Narendra Modi in one day. You have to spend your life, time, days, weeks, months working towards it. And I think that's the key to success. That if you decide that this is my job, this is my life, give everything you have for the rest of your life to be the best. And I think for me it was that day. And I went on to play so many matches after that. You know, sometimes I've gone in with full of confidence. Sometimes I've gone in to bat thinking where will the next run come from? Because that's what human mind is. You know, it's never static. It wanders. It wanders, it reacts to the situation, it reacts to what pressure you are in, it reacts to what mindset you are in. So for me, after that I went on to play 500 games for India, captained of about 210 matches. But the mindset I had in that innings at Lords, I could not reproduce it again. I've got hundreds, I've got double hundreds. My concentration has suffered while batting. I had to shake myself up and say, hey, look for the next ball. You know, don't think too far ahead. But that day, it was so much of calmness, it was so much of surety, it was so much of happiness just scoring that next run. And I think it was phenomenal. I believe in destiny. If you keep working hard and if you keep trying and if you believe you can do it, it'll happen. And for me, all those runs on that particular day was the efforts I put in from 1987. When I first started playing as an under 15 boy, I was 14-year-old then. When I got picked for the state as an under 15 cricketer, then I went on to play for the under 19s, the country under 19, and then India. So it's a process which has taken me to that day. And then after that, I always say that, you know, what success does to you is it gives you the confidence from within. Because in sport, if you get 100 on that day, it's for that particular day. When you come back the next day, the next game, you start from zero. You don't carry those runs forward. But what that 100 gives you is that belief that next day you come and you play well. You have the ability to play well. Because for me, and I'm sure he's such a successful person, you've been in the corporate world for such a long period of time. You know, your life is about faith. It's about faith in yourself. Everybody gets tested, everybody gets rewarded, everybody gets rejected because that's the circle of life. What remains constant is the faith in your ability which keeps you go through that circle.
It's an interesting analogy that you drew towards Mr. Ghosh and your journey as well, and I would now jump right across to Mr. Ghosh to ask him the same question that I started with. The question being, Mr. Ghosh, when you were applying for the banking license, did you face a similar situation where you heard from a lot of quarters that you are from the East, how are you even thinking of getting a banking license? Did that happen to you as well?
Thank you, Apurva. Same way, whatever the Sourav Ganguly mentioned, some of the point, I'm not different on that. Given that another history of India and Eastern India, actually the hub of the bank. If you say the State Bank of India, United Bank of India, all are born in here. And now it is in national controlled, financial industry controlled by that bank. That is the one side. When we started, that time is not in that favorable condition of that. For that reason, every steps we are taking some of this feedback negatively. And I felt that the negative feedback given the inspiration to me, I will like to make it a success. So that is the one point I got on that. When I first decided, if I say that as an NGO, NBFC, the first 2010 I decided I make as a NBFC the largest microfinance institution in the country. When it has come, then next steps has come in the mind. What is the next? How it can be like? Then 2010 I decided on why not I become a bank. 2010. And that time people are not thought about it. And my industry people, all our people say me it is mad. Microfinance institution, you become a bank. So I feel that can I make my success on that way? That is my confidence. I like to make a success on that. And I talked with the best consultant in our country to support me to apply for a bank license. And he said that he called me to Delhi, 2-3 meetings done. Every meeting he said that you are not eligible to get it. Don't spend the money. And he refused to me. And finally, I have not get his support. And I have been taken a very medium class of one consultancy. Okay, fine, I would like to apply. All of these things is a challenge. No, but my internal team has given the confidence to me. Yes, sir, we would like to try. Why not? Okay. So that have been helped on that. So I have been the same line say that the confidence is a own confidence is the best way to make it the next level of the success. And one success is very correctly mentioned Dada on that. Very small goal, success, and then make a confidence build up, and again the next goal, not in a one-time goal on that level. So that have been helped us on that. Eastern region always is in, now it is in based on that. Thank you.
So here we have the two stalwarts from East, from Kolkata, sharing the same roots, one establishing himself on the global front, and another building an institution that today is present across the country. So spreading the roots, spreading the wings. Now we come to that eventful year 2001, and we come a few kilometers away from here to Eden Gardens. Australia were the visitors here. Wankhede was a loss before Eden Gardens, and Australia were on a 16 test match winning streak. Australian team, all put together, had played more than 600 test matches cumulatively across the players. How many for the Indians, young team? About 300, about half of that. Even if you remove Steve Waugh and Marco from the equation, still the Australians were at least about 50 test matches won. Test match is about experience. Australians had huge loads of it. First inning did not end up well, followed on to win the game. Another question. After the first inning, before going into follow-on, what was discussed in this dressing room? Because I'm sure the inning would have given some bit of jitters saying that, okay, we are going to do again what we did in Wankhede. How did you boost the morale? What was discussed?
It was very tough that day at Eden Gardens. Australia got about 400 in the first innings, and we were 190 all out in the first innings. So they had an opportunity to make us follow on, which they did. You know, we had no discussions in the dressing room. Sometimes when things don't go your way, I've realized over a period of 20 years now is that you just let it be and you just work. So I remember coming back after that morning session, we got all out on the third day in the first hour. In the first hour on the third day, VVS Lakshman had got 60 and we were all out for 190. And as the batting unit entered into the dressing room, Steve Waugh asked us to follow on. And I remember sitting with John and Sachin and Rahul and did not discuss anything. All what we did was that we got into a huddle and said to everyone, just go and play. Go and look at your individual performances and go and do the best you can. The only change we made was because Lakshman was batting, had got a 70 odd in the first innings, and because he was in form, we told him to bat at number 3. And then things happened. Many people have asked me that what did you do to get 600 in the second innings? I said it's nothing. You know, I said if you expect the Indian team to recapture or recapitulate the same in another test match, I don't think it will happen. What happened that day at Eden, from the morning of the third day till the morning of the 5th day, was an absolute freak. And sometimes, Almighty reserves the best for you. When you work hard, when you're honest, you get the best in life. And it's happened to Chandrasekhar Babu as well. You know, as he said, he found hard to get the licenses. People were saying he did not have the requirements to get into a bank, but he persisted, he believed himself. He had worked over a period of 14 years before that and said that, I'm going to do this. And I think it was the same that afternoon at Eden Gardens. We went into the 4th day without losing a wicket. The entire 4th day, I remember getting out on the evening of third day. I got 50 odd in the second innings, and we were 220 for 4 when I got out. I was batting at 5 and Rahul was batting at 6. We had just gone past the Australian score, and Rahul walked in. Lakshman was batting on the other end, over 80 or 90. And then what happened afterwards was history. The entire fourth day, India did not lose a wicket, and we finished at 600. I remember that evening after the fourth day finished, both Rahul Dravid and previous Lakshman were in the dressing room on drips. It was a hot day in Calcutta, and they batted and batted and batted, and they got dehydrated, and they went on to drips after the day's play. And I still remember we came on to the fifth day, and me and John, Australia was a great side, probably the best side of that generation, and I think the best side I've seen in the last 30, 40 years, the Steve Ball-led side. On the fifth day morning, as we kept on batting, and I kept on walking up to John and saying, when do we declare, when do we declare? So every time I would go to him, he would say, hold on, let's get a big lead, let's get a 400 lead, because this Australian team is so good, they're capable of getting 350 in a day. So his mind was, the next test is in Chepauk in Madras, where India doesn't lose. So let's save this test match and go in with an opportunity to level the series in Madras. In the first hour, Eden Gardens was packed. There was 125,000 people, because in those days, they used to have those cement seating areas, not the bucket seats now. So it was a packed stadium, and I got a small message from my father who was watching the game from upstairs, and it was an hour after the start of the play on the fifth morning. So I played in Calcutta, born in Calcutta. So he sent a message through one of the staff in the dressing room, telling me, how long are you going to bat? When are you going to declare? The entire stadium is asking that question, and you're sitting in the ground as captain and not taking a decision. So I still remember vividly, I went on to John and said, John, we must declare. John said, no, another 30 runs. I said, no, let's put this at this 360, we are ahead. Whatever happens will happen. If Australia are good enough to get 360 in 5 hours, let them get it. So we declared at about half an hour before lunch. Australia went in at lunch, no loss, 30 odd, and then things started changing after lunch. We got 3 wickets during that session from lunch till tea. I dropped Steve Waugh at backward short leg just before tea, and I still remember that look he gave me as he walked back into the tea time, saying, and I could see it on his face that probably we have managed to save this test. He came back after tea. First ball he got out, flicking and caught a backward short leg. And then we got 7 wickets after tea. So for me, that game was a freak. And since then, from 2000, now it's 2022, I don't think any team has had the courage to follow on oppositions. Because every time they would do it, the captain would think about that game key, hope this team does not come and do it. So for me, I don't think it will be possible to repeat that test match. But what the test match and the test series, we went on to Chennai and win the series 2-1. So what that series did for us is completely transform the team. Situations like this, moments like this, transform individuals. And I think Indian cricket got transformed on that day, and the next 5 years, we just got better and better and better, whether it's in Australia, whether it's in Pakistan, whether it's in England, and we just kept winning and winning and becoming a better team.
And we all know, we saw that match, and I vividly remember each time the camera would focus on you in the dressing room and you were standing and almost no nails on your hands because you were biting each one of them, and every pair of commentator would say, surely now they're going to declare, but it was just not happening. But coming back, you mentioned about the transformation of the Indian cricket team that started 11th of March 2001. Little did anyone know that just a month from there, on 11th of April of 2001, another transformation would start a few kilometers away from Eden Gardens in a place called Bandhan, is where Mr. Chandrasekhar Ghosh set up Bandhan Konagar, the NGO, from where the journey of Bandhan started, precisely a month after the Eden Test started. A bit of trivia for you.
I just have a question for him, as the data you gave 1 month later, he started the NGO. It's very important for all of us to know, because, he's gone through this journey for 20 years now. What made you believe that you will establish such an institution in a period of 20 years? And most importantly, what did you do to make it so successful? Because for all of us, we see the end product, and you started from scratch. And I'm not a business person, I'm not a banker, so I don't know for a banking institution what it means by starting from scratch. But I think it's a lesson for every individual, a business organization, and for someone like me now, who's been an administrator, now will move on to something else. What does it mean that when you say you start from scratch, and what does it mean, and what have you done for the last 20 years to get to where you are today?
Thank you, Dada. Very appropriate point on that. What I feel that any success depends on that the team. So in that sense, when I started on that time, the people are not understand about the model of this business or microcredit. What is this? How we done it on that. I recall on that, I given the advertisement in the newspaper. I received 11 application and 6 are postcard and 7 are senior citizen. I'm not getting the people and after listen from me that the work is for village and go to this the out of the office, not in office job, and all left. So this is the first challenge I face on that. People say that the unemployment that much, but why I am not getting the people? Is it that I am not addressing the right people on that, or can I change something on that? But I cannot change the model. So first I have need to success of any work. I have need to build up my own team who can be tried and with work with me on that. That is a main challenge. Then I have been trying to take the people from relatives, they are also not interested. Friends, they are also not interested. Then I find out of that one way. I can like to find out some people from the rural who are not first division, not second division, just simple pass, higher secondary. He can just write on that and taken them. And every Saturday evening to Sunday up to night, 2 a.m., I given the training to them. How they work, what types of work, how they talk with the people, how behave with the people. So this is a behavioral type because the calculation is not needed for them. Calculation, everything is very simplified on that. So that is the one side, and those people are actually built up, help us to transform to this level.
Are they still with you?
Till now they are in the senior management level. So I feel proud on that. Then these people that time maybe nobody get the job. They say that no, I am not eligible to get the job. No. But they are built up themselves and change themselves in such a way. I also surprised on that, how they are coming on that. So team is a main factor for success, anything on that. Because I maybe like to handle that the 200 people. And up to 500 people, I can say their name, their family members' name, everything. And they are all occasion, I have been family occasion, I attended. And they are also in my family. Every of the occasion, they also attended. This is a like of that. And then I have been given to this the 500. Each one will be like to make 5, another 5. So then 500 into 5, this number is coming back. Then given the chance on that 10. So we are simple way to build up on that to mind. You build up the next 50, you build up next 100, then I can build up, scale this organization on that. Because without the people, that cannot be success in anything on that.
I have another question to you. We all are professionals. We start our careers, and there are so many here in this room. They're professional journalists, professional writers. You started your business from zero. I started playing since I was 13 years old. I never thought that, 15 years down the line,
I started 40 years.
40 years, at the age of 40.
Yes.
So I never thought 15 years down the line I'll be captain of India. I'll captain for a long period of time, play so many matches for India and be successful. Now, in every profession, there is risk. In every profession, there are insecurities. Like as you said, when you started, you were new, you did not have a name, you did not have enough deposits, so people obviously wouldn't support you. People don't know, who is he, what is he trying to do, does it make any sense for me to go and join him? But then you slowly progressed. How would you have looked every year of your business journey? For business, it's about finances, especially in the banking sector. It's about managing the expenses and the income, the costs, balancing factor, expanding, marketing, because you need people to know that Bandhan is a financial institution and now a bank. So you had to balance all these portfolios to be where you are today. So how would you manage the business? And if you could say it in short, that what is the secret for all individuals who start from scratch, who go through the risks of being not successful, who go through this process of trying to be successful, and then over a period of time achieve success?
No, this is also last time also you mentioned from your speech on that. Every goal, with a small goal, success, and then inspiration has come to the next one. I am also the same way on that. If I say that at the first, I believed on that, the small is beautiful, but big is necessary. Because country is so big, population is so much, I can be like to any amount grow if I have the team member which have the skill on that. This is one side. Next side on that, how I can simplify the system process. If I simplify the system process, then immediately it can be like to implement on that. I give you the one point on that. I given to my colleague also. When the rail line are good, train automatically run. Any number of you give the compartment, that is not a problem. It will automatically run. Maybe the speed will be slow or speed will be high. For that reason, every of total our business are very simple way have been developed, which is simplify the process and system. This is the one part. And second is they are trained to the staff in that way. And next step on that, what I say that today is in April. I plan on the next April how many branch I will open and how much business I like to grow. And if I open the 100 branches, I targeted 100 branches existing. How many of the people are in there as a potential? I selected without knowing them. I visited. I said that my office has been closed in the 6 p.m. After that, I go to the branch to visit them, talk with them, and identify the potential branch manager. And identify them and given a special training. And another supervisor, I asked them, you can follow him and see his activities and grow him. The next April, I called all these people and trained them and make a branch. So I got from the ground, if I got that the 100 people, I targeted 100 branch. So accordingly, the business will come. If you say that my business also if I came the bank branch on that, when I come on that, I targeted on that 700 branches in the opening date I will open. 2 months before of the opening of the bank, my team said that, sir, we cannot open more than 300. Then I called to all of them. You say that what is your challenge? You cannot open. And they given them 5-6 things on that. And then I have been solved that issue. And they are coming 501 branches at a time in the day of opening. So we should be involved of this process. Should be involved with the ground level, what actually the problem, and give some solution, simple way, which is easily can be like to replicate. That had been helped to the growth of the business.
How did you balance work with time when you were expanding? As you said, you would want to do 500 branches, 700 branches in a year. What regime was important for this company to be successful? Did you have a particular working time? Like I said, that I would work from 10 in the morning till 6:37 in the evening, and then after that it's my time. I'll go back the next day and do the same thing again, and let this process continue over a period of next 10 years. Or is it just you worked and worked, you had no time to finish, you would finish only work when work would finish? I think that balance also is very important.
You are correct. But first 5 years of the organization, I have not the time. Day and night. I return back to my home at night 2 a.m., 3 a.m., like on that. And 6 a.m. I have been come out. After the 5 years, I have come to the 9 to 6 in office, and 1 week in office, and 3 weeks in a field. So this is the way I have been come. Now if I say that I have been 15 days in a field, 15 days in office, and everything is just systematic. I have not need to this the 6 a.m. come to the office. 9 a.m. I have been coming now 10 a.m., 9:30 to 10, and I return back to the home 7 to 7:30. So now it is coming to the system because many of things I have been developed such a way which is automatically they are running on that.
So your first 5 years went for development and setting up the base, and then obviously time management was a lot easier.
But first the 5 years, the painful things from the family level, they are not getting time. So that is the very painful. Until now I am listening to that.
I almost forgot the next question. I was enjoying this discussion so much. So coming back to Mr. Ghosh, we'll continue with a little bit on that discussion. So when the bank was to be formed, till such time, there were people who had been with you since the inception of Bandhan in 2001, so 15 years. And you needed people from other banking companies to come in and start leading the transformation into a bank. How did you manage this challenge between the old and the new?
I always given a one example to my employees. One learning from me on that, if anything I address before the incident will come and educate the people, that will be very good way to help us to less face the challenges on that. So I know that the new and old is a very big challenge, which I am learning on that. When any boy have been married, if it is a settlement or whatever, so first wife has come to the house. So what she faced the challenges, nobody know that. Because she cannot explain to the mother-in-law, she cannot explain to the husband, and both are in a one side, and she is alone. So this is a best example in our family. Every family of that, small and big or everything. How she managed the time on that. So that is the one big learning from all of us. For that reason, when I received the bank license, the first day everyone very happy. First 3 days their happiness is an extreme, is correct myself also. And I given a 1 day leave. So all will be go to home and given a token of money. They will be like to enjoy with the family, come back to the Monday. The Monday they have come back. And sitting on that, 64 people in my head office, all sitting. And I am asking how you are. They say that everyone expressed, we are very happy, sir. We got a license, we are now a bank. So when I go to the home, village people also come to see me, we got the bank. This is a very big thing. And they ask me, sir, how you feel? Because I am not happy. So you are not happy? No. So why? See that in this room, we are sitting, including myself. There is no person who have the bank experience. So how we run the bank? And If we not run the bank perfectly, so will be failed. Why I'll be happy? They are all silent. They're asking me, sir, what do you say that you are not happy? No, because I'll not maybe the bank MD. You may be not in a CFO, you are not in the HR head. Because all of us are not in a bank experience. So what is the alternative? They are asking me. Then I said that the alternative is there. We'll return back the license to the RBI. So what do you say? Yes, we say that we are eligible, fittest to get the license but not run the bank. No, sir. Can you give the alternative? Another one? Yes. Another I am thinking, but I am not know that you will be agree on that. So you say. I say that the second alternative is there. You will be like to leave your chair as a CFO, as a HR head, as a business head to the third number chair. We recruit many people from the bank, they will sit this chair. Sir, we build up this bank, we earn the license, and they will become as a leader, and I am the second person. Yes, this is another alternative. And you see that there is a very time on that. They are silent 5 minutes, nobody talk. And suddenly one say that, sir, we agree with the second option. What is it? We can learn from them and we can be take our next chair. That has helped me to transform them to also we are what to say that the less challenge face on them. When these people has come, new people, and I also talk to the new people. So they are build up this institution, they are coming to this position. So you only honor them and they will give the 424 into 7. But ground level it will not happen. No. So one day I have been going to this, both the side I have been given the training on these two things. The mindset on that, accept the new. And new, I have been told that you accept and recognize the old who have been built up this institution. And then that have been coming to this position on that. This is the very big learning. If I not taken that steps in the first day, it's a very challenge for me to matching to this old and new. And now they are coming to the good position on that.
Absolutely, and both together have built this bank in the 7 years what we see the story. Now the same question to you, 2001, you had stalwarts in the team like Sachin, Rahul, Kumble, Srinath, and a whole lot of others. You also had a range of newcomers who were in the team. How did you manage the old and the new?
I think the best organizations are a blend of youth and experience. You need the flamboyance of youth and you need the mindset and the calmness of an experienced person. And I think I was fortunate enough to have a team which had both the blend of rich experience and young talent. I believe in certain things when I do a job. I believe in talent, as Mr. Ghosh said, that it's the team, it's the people who drive the organization. And if you read the successes of great business people, they say the best investment and the most important investment is the investment in talent, because that actually takes your organization ahead. Its infrastructure is there, machinery is there, raw materials are there, but it's the talent which actually drives the business or drives the team. I led a team where everyone could have been captain of India before me, and I considered myself fortunate to captain them. Sachin was good enough to captain, Rahul was good enough to captain, Anil was good enough to captain, VVS was good enough to captain, and among all of them, I became captain. So for me, I had to strike a balance with those experienced players. And the best thing which I did during my 6 years of tenure as captain is made them leaders as well. It was not just my team. It was Sachin's team, Rahul's team, Anil's team, Sehwag's team, Harbhajan's team, Zahir's team, Lakshman's team. And I got them responsible. When I would sit and pick a team, I would sit with all 6 of them. What is your opinion about X? What is your opinion about Y? And I would listen to them. If Sachin would come and say that pick Sehwag, I'll go and pick him. I will not, even if I didn't believe it, I will go and tell him, that, okay, I'll pick him because you believe it. In that way, I made him an important part of that squad. Same with Rahul, when he was my vice captain. There was a time when he was almost dropped from the side, from the one-day side. But I stood up for him and ultimately he finished as vice captain of the one-day side. So, these things don't go unnoticed in a team environment. So it was not just Sourav Ganguly leading, but it was 6 of them leading Indian cricket. And so when they went out to bat and they went out to bowl, they felt that this is my team. I am responsible for it winning, I am responsible for it losing. And created a fantastic atmosphere with it. And I think that was the reason we changed. We played as one. We identified small performances. Say a KF and a Yuvraj. One batted at 6, one batted at 7. They never got an opportunity to get hundreds. But they would get a 40, 30, which would win matches for you. You identify those contributions. You highlight those contributions. Because a Ganguly or a Tendulkar or a Dravid at the top got an opportunity to get 100 because they batted more number of overs. But when a Yuvraj came in at number 6, 20 balls left. KF came in at number 7, 30 balls left. And they contributed to you win. So as a leadership group, as a team, you identified their contributions in the same manner as the ones at the top who got hundreds. In his organization, it's not just about him. It's that small, down the level individual who goes to customers and says, do a Bandhan bank account, put in a deposit, try us out, we'll give you more interest, your money is safe with me. Those are as important in the organization as he is. And I think that's how you build organizations and make it into a successful unit.
And now the frontliner will have one more line to say other than what all you said.
I add the one point also. The time we also give to the recognition of the team member. Who are success, immediately give the recognition, it will become to double his inspiration. And that is the best way team building happen.
Absolutely. And what all you mentioned that, the frontliner would go and say, we have this, try us out. And now he'll probably also say Sourav Ganguly is a brand ambassador as well. Right?
Thank you. It's an honor.
Okay. Moving on to that one match that we all remember for an iconic moment that happened on a balcony in a place where people are not seen without a suit and a tie. Right? But before we get to that moment, here is a video just recapping that trophy.
Again, Ganguly going for the offside shot. Racing away up the hill for 4, and that's Ganguly's 50. It's coming just 35 balls.
Any batsman who would bat with Sehwag, you would think Sehwag would be on 51 and the other batsman on 21. That day, Dada started the aggression.
Brilliant. Well, Sehwag's turn now. Maybe he's the one to get after Irani. It's in the air, third man is up and it's 4. Now it's 4-1. Ripped away. Loose square, that's going to be 4. That's quite deliberate. Full toss. They go for the signal this time. A throw and a miss. They're going to get back for 2. India at home. Launch goes wrong.
What great memories from 2002. Dada, tell us, you have an interesting story about when Sehwag hit those 4 boundaries and Irani over.
We had got off to a great start. As you saw, 78 for no loss, and I think this was about 8 or 9 overs. We were chasing 325, and in those days, 325 used to be a lot of runs in one degree. So I went up to him at the start of the over and said that, Viru, we've got a good start. I think we can win this game. So let's not miss this at this stage. We have a long batting, it's a good wicket, it's a fast outfield. We'll get to 325. So he was on strike to Ronnie Irani, and he hit the first ball as you saw over mid-on for 4. I went up to him, tapped the wicket and said that we've got 4 runs at the start of the over. Let's look at taking singles. We'll finish with 8 and 9 runs and over, and we'll be in course for the chase. He said, yeah, Dada, chinta mat karna. Next ball you saw, it was pitched in the middle stump and he played it past point for 4. So I went up to him again and said, कि 2 ball में 8 run आ गए, अब आराम से खेलना, क्योंकि हम नहीं चाहते कि विकेट चले. कहते हाँ, चिंता मत करना. The third ball he hit over mid-off. He hit over mid-off for 4. They again went up to him and just looked at him and smiled. And I was angry from inside, or rather worried from inside, कि यार ये कर क्या रहा है, because the match is in our grip. Let's not lose this. The next ball again he swept. He swept from the middle stump, and if it would have missed, he would have been plumb out. So I went up to the end of the over and said, तेरे को जो करना है कर, मैं कुछ बोलूँगा ही नहीं तेरे को. But then I realized when I finished, when we won that game, and when I went back to the room, and I actually recollected that incident. So I said to myself that, why did you have to do this? By going and telling him every ball, I'm trying to restrict his thought process. Because at the end of the day, cricket may be a team sport, but it's individual as well. Because when the bowler is at the top of his mark and you're on strike as a batsman, it's just you, your mindset and the bowler. The captain does not matter, the non-striker does not matter, nobody matters. So at the end of the day, what is going to make me win that game is what is going on in the head of that person on strike. And I realized that, and ever since after that, I did not interfere with the batsman when he was batting. My suggestion would be or my discussion with him would be, we have to get 300 in 50 overs. You know how to do it. Play your game. But once you get in and once you get set, don't throw it away. Win the game for us. Because I realized that if I would have gone to Sehwag and said, you keep defending and not hitting, he'll get out. Because that's not the way he plays. So I think it's very important when you're a leader and when you're a captain of a side, it's about understanding that it's not my way or highway. It's about understanding the person who you're playing with. How does he become successful? How does Sehwag get to a test match 100? Now you go to Dravid, you don't expect him to hit 4 boundaries in an over. He's going to defend, he's going to lead, he's going to bat 6 hours and get 100. So you go to Dravid and tell him, okay, if that's the way for your success, you do that. And I think many a number of times when we become bosses, when we become leaders, when we become captains, we go to you and say, this is the way I think, you think the same way. And I think that's wrong. It's about understanding what you are thinking, and it's about finding out over a period of time whether your thinking brings success to me, and then adjusting and doing it accordingly. I think that is very important. And I think that over, amidst Virendra Sehwag's madness, it made me, it was the early days of my captaincy. It made me understand that let players be, make them work hard, make them train, make them secure, give them a plan, give them a goal, say my motto is to win matches, not just draw cricket matches. I either win or I lose. There's nothing in between. And then let them play their game.
I think all of us are witnessing something spectacular here. This is a crash course in leadership with these two legends on stage, and so fortunate to be a part of this discussion. So I happened to be at Lord's in 2016, and there's a guided tour, and we went around the entire stadium. And we were taken to the home team dressing room and then to the visitor team dressing room. The guide there, proper British accent person wearing a blazer, an MCC blazer, etc. He said to all my Indian friends who were here, we were about 20 people, He said that on the balcony is the wooden bench on which Sourav Ganguly stood up and did the unthinkable at Lord's.
And as I said to you at the backstage when we were talking, I went in 2011 and it was a cold day in England and I had a cap and a jacket on and a glass and I'm wearing my specs and I took a couple of my friends to see Lord's. Invariably we went up to the dressing room and there was a steward standing. So he's telling my friend, this is where Sourav Ganguly took his shirt off. And I look at him and he's smiling at me. He does not know me. He hasn't recognized me because he must have come new to the job and his job was to show around visitors because Lord's is a place which is a tourist spot. You know, people go buy tickets, go to the museum, go to the ground, they take you to the long room, they take you inside the ground, they take you to the practice facilities, they take you to the wonderful museum inside which you've been before. So I remember that steward looking at me and saying, you know that Indian captain Sourav Ganguly, he took his shirt off in this match. I said, yeah, okay, I'll look at the video and find out. So that's what it is. So, you know, for me, that win was more important than taking that shirt off. And I think we went back again there. We won many a number of matches, went back to England, won a series in 2007. So that country had great memories for me. My first test at Lord's, as you saw, in 1996, where I went on to get 100. So that ground has always given me good memories in my playing career.
So 2 home grounds for you, one obviously the Eden Gardens and the other Lord's. And Lord's does not have stands dedicated after plays, what I know last.
No, there is. There is? There is the Edridge stand, there is the Compton stand, there is the Pavilion. So Lord's has stands named after them. Not everyone because they corporatize a lot. If you look at the JP, it's called the JP Morgan Lord's. So they look at sponsorships. They are, you know, they just don't leave it empty because it is such a valuable place right in the heart of London, in the middle of London. So it generates enormous amount of revenues. And it's not just a cricket ground. You have conferences there, marriages are held there, birthday parties are held there. People can have meetings, people can have lunches. So they completely use it commercially. You know, there was a discussion in Lord's. I know you've seen Lord's. I don't know whether Chandrasekhar Babu has seen Lord's. There is the back part of the Lord's, which is the nursery. And underneath that bit, it's the metro which goes through, the London Tube. The London Tube goes underneath those nursery. So the British government has to pay Lord's Cricket Ground a charge for letting the tube go underneath that nursery. So every bit of that ground is commercialized, you know, and people want to do it because you know, sport, whether you go to Lord's, whether you go to the Old Trafford, where Manchester play their football, whether you go to Manchester City, whether you go to Chelsea and watch football, they make it an event. They make it a place for people to bring their children, their families, and say that this is the ground where Ronaldo played. This is the ground where Sir Alex Ferguson was the coach. This is the ground where Ricky Ponting got 100 or Steve Waugh got 100. So they create history around sporting.
So there are stands named after the prominent cricketers from England, and there's a bench, the only bench which belongs to a foreign cricketer in Lord's, and that happens to be our Dada. Okay, we go to another video very quickly. There's no question, but there's a stat I want everyone to know here. Let's play the video quickly, please.
तो सौरव गांगुली ऑब्वियसली जब कप्तान बने तो मतलब काफी भिड़ा हुआ था माहौल, जब वो आए काफी चीजें बैलेंस थी, पर एक बात जो सब यंगस्टर्स कहते हैं, मतलब योर जनरेशन, यूवी, बंची, वीरू, आशु, जैक, सब बड़ा मानते हो तो कि मतलब वो बैक करते थे।
नहीं, इसीलिए उनकी ये खास बात थी कि प्लेयर्स को पता है कि अगर मैं खेल रहा हूँ तो कप्तान की बैकिंग है, बिलीफ है, वो बहुत जरूरी होता है कि आपको पता हो कप्तान मेरे साथ है। और अच्छे टाइम में नहीं, खराब टाइम। अच्छे टाइम में सभी साथ होते हैं।
अच्छा लीडर वो होता है जिसको ये मालूम होता है कि उसकी टीम में जो खिलाड़ी है किसको कैसे मोटिवेट किया जाता है, किसी को प्यार से, किसी को गुस्सा करके, किसी को कुछ अचीव करा के, किसी को कुछ बता के। और ये शायद खूबियाँ थी सौरव गांगुली में, क्योंकि मुझे याद है जब वो हमारे रूम में आते थे तो मैं यही कह रहे थे कि तुम चिंता मत करो, अगले 2-3 सीरीज तक तुम पक्के हो, तुम जाओ और अपना गेम खेलो। शायद वो किसी और के रूम में जाते होंगे, राहुल द्रविड़ या सचिन के, तो उनसे अलग बातें करते होंगे।
Dada was very fond of all you younger trend.
ऑब्वियसली ही न्यू, उसने अपने प्लेयर मार्क किए थे कि ये प्लेयर है जो मेरे को मैच जिता सकते हैं। दैट वे जैसे जो भी अभी आप बाद में जो भी हम जो टीम देखते हैं तो उसमें दादा का बहुत बड़ा हाथ है कि 2001 से 5 उसने 4-5 साल टीम वो सेट करी थी, जो अभी देखो ना उसमें से 5 से लेके 11, 12, 13 तक अगले 7-8 साल भी कितने सारे लोग खेले।
What the main point of the story is this: what it taught me from a very young age is that Sourav Ganguly made it very clear to, as Sachin says, during that period Australia were very dominant in international cricket. Sourav Ganguly made it very clear to Australia and every other team around the world that he wasn't going to be bullied. He wasn't going to accept that anybody was going to tell him what to do. And, you know, I say now, I look at a lot of the young players, I look at Rowan, I look at Virat, I look at a lot of these young guys currently playing for India, and I think they've got that same attitude. And I've said it openly, I think Sourav deserves a lot of credit for that, the way he was going to take a stance and was going to make sure that that Indian team was going to play their natural game no matter who they were going to play against. Sourav had a different style, but he was very clear that this is my turf, this is how we're going to play, and even though Australia might be the best team in the world, we're not going to back away from you. So, yeah, look, it was. I remember Ricky telling us that, like I say, I can't remember if Steve or Ricky was captain at the time. They tossed the coin. Sourav said quickly, head, tail, picked up the coin, said, "Bull bat, thank you very much." Before Ricky or Steve Waugh could even think what had just happened, India's batting, they probably make 500 and Australia loses the game.
So I'll go back to what Ashish Nehra mentioned. I mean, he mentioned about the years of your captaincy and said that, you know, there were players who played in that team who went on to serve Indian cricket very well for many years after that. In the 2011 World Cup team of 15 people, 7 were players who had either debuted under Dada or had blossomed under Dada's captaincy. And they contributed about 60% of the total runs that the team scored in the World Cup and about 70% of the total wickets that the Indian team took at the World Cup. So the homework for 2011 did not happen in 2011, it started in 2000 under the leadership of this great man here. We are towards the back end of this discussion. Some funny ones here now. Can we have the next video please?
दादा की एक और खास बात थी कि दादा का कभी खराब टाइम आता था ना तो टीम में जिसका अच्छा टाइम चल रहा है उससे कुछ ना कुछ ले लेना। तो बेसिकली उसका अच्छा टाइम ले लिया, अपना खराब टाइम ले लिया। तो दादा ने बहुत किया।
So while I ask you about what he's saying, there's one more question, if you could just follow up with your answer on that, is that clearly there was a feeling of friendship even within the new and the old, that camaraderie, that warmth in the relationship, right? What was Dada on field versus off field? But before you answer that, something about what he just said, if you could tell us.
I used to do that. And I remember I wasn't scoring runs in Sri Lanka. And we had to go to South Africa after that to play the one day and the test series. So before the first game, and Harbhajan Singh was in great form. So before the first game in Johannesburg, first one day, I went to Harbhajan that night before. मैंने कहा तेरा जूता दे दे यार। कहते मेरा जूता लेके क्या करोगे? आपके पास इतने जूते। मैंने कहा देना यार। तेरा जूता तूने 5-6 विकेट किसी से लिए हैं क्या? कहता हाँ वो जूता पड़ा हुआ है, मैंने 5 इस पे श्रीलंका में लास्ट टेस्ट में 10 विकेट लिए। मैंने कहा वो मुझे दे दिया। कहता मैं किससे डालूं? मैंने कहा मैं बैटिंग कर लूं फिर तू उससे बॉलिंग कर लेना। So I went to Johannesburg, took that shoe, batted and I got 100. I got 120 that one day game. The first one day game, both me and Sachin got 100. So these are funny things we used to do. You know, we used to get loads of clothes when we play test matches and one day matches, shirts, trousers, training shoes. So if I would have scored 100 with a shirt which I batted with, I will use that same shirt every time I batted for that whole year in the test match. So what I would do is, if once I finished batting and I had to go back and bat the next day, I would send it to the laundry because laundry would take time. I would come back to the hotel, go to my room and wash it myself, hang it, and then next morning wake up, iron it so that it gets dry and go and play with it. My wife used to do that, you know. She used to tell me, Harry, you got so much of clothes, why do you want to wear the same trouser, the same shirt, even the same socks? I said, don't ask me so many things, I think you just go and wash it. Go and wash it and make it ready for me tomorrow morning. So she would do it. These are small things in life which you do. You know, I used to always wear the left pad first. Every time I would go into bat, I would take the left pad and tie it up and then put the right. These are small beliefs Like you see when people go to work in a Bengali family. My mother, every time I leave, she would, and I would be about to get out of the door, she would call me from that far. Wait. I said, I'm in a hurry. I have to go. I'm already late. She said, no, wait. And she's old. So she takes a little bit of time to walk up to me. So she'll take the picture and put it on my head. So another 5-6 minutes would go in that. But you would have to do it. So that's the way it works. I'm sure in your life you had your good times, you had your bad times, you have your beliefs, you have your faiths, and then you react accordingly. So what Sehwag rightly said, very correct. I couldn't use any of their bats because my bats were different. My bats were half inch longer than what Sehwag or a Sachin would use. They would rather take my bats and use it, cut it from bottom. So there used to be days when in the tour I used to carry 8, 9, 10 cricket bats and say Sehwag is coming to my room to have a chat or a coffee, or Rahul would come. I would put the bats in my cupboard and lock it. Ki leke na chale jaye yaar. They will pick up and say ki dada ye bat acha hai, mujhe de do. Main kal isse khelunga. So I couldn't say no to him, but I need to use that bat. So I used to hide them. We hope they don't see it and don't take my bats away. So these were great moments, whatever you do in life, I keep telling everyone, the best days were when you played for the country. I've seen so much after that. I've been president of CAB, I've been president of BCCI. I'll go on to do bigger things in the future. But those 15 years will be the best days of your life. When you woke up every morning to be successful. When you left the ground, when you left the hotel thinking that, it's an important day for me. If I don't score, I may not be picked again. But at the end of the day, when you went on to score 100, you felt the world is the best place to be in because you've been successful. And I think it's the same thing for him. When he started from scratch, or for you, when you started your first job, you started from scratch and you woke up, you said you'd work at 2 in the morning, get up next morning at 6 o'clock and go and find a customer to invest. And now what he sees is all the byproduct of all the hard work he has put in over this long period of time. So whatever you do, how much money you make, and I keep telling people, when you become as big as him, when you become as big as an Ambani or as big as a Warren Buffett or the richest people in the world, you don't need that money for you. You only need that amount of money to be happy. But what you create for everyone remains. So in my journey as captain, it's not just the runs I score, it's not just the wickets I took. But what these people have remembered, even when I have finished. And you go around, you go and ask Sehwag, you go and ask Baji, you go and ask Ashish Nehra or Zahir Khan. You'll probably hear the same thing. Because as a leader, you've made careers. You've made careers of people. And when you look at him, when he finishes 10 years down the line, because everybody finishes, there's nothing permanent in life. And when he goes back and when he meets someone like you go up and tell him with respect that, you made me smile as well. And I think that is very important.
Absolutely. What you leave behind is legacy, more important than what you earn throughout your life. We've come to the last video now. Again, a light video with one of your dear friends. And this is not on the field, this is while commentating. Let's have the video, please.
Right, Rahul, you've been doing some English calculations. You've been checking up some numbers.
I was just trying to figure out how many overs I gave to Tendulkar and Ganguly and maybe underbowled Ganguly there, but Sachin has more test wickets than
He always did that.
Tendulkar has more test wickets than Ganguly.
Because he got half his overs on turning pitches in India.
I like the way you're sticking to your territory.
Those turning pitches on day 5 in India, those dust balls. I wish I knew how to bowl a bit of spin. That's on flat batting pitches. On good pitches where you needed skill. Look at that economy. Perfect fifth bowler's job.
Sanjay Mendreka made a really good point in the commentary box. Ganguly had been a yard quicker. Just a little bit fitter. He would have been a match winner.
I wish I was Prime Minister of India. I could have done a whole lot of things.
I almost feel like not getting into this conversation. I'm getting away. This is some serious slidging. Come on, Rahul. Don't be a good boy here. Come on.
Ask Rahul Dravid when he won the toss in Trent Bridge, 2007, a famous win in England after 26 years, and they were going in almost 6 and over. Who did he fall back to?
I'm not denying that. I'm absolutely not denying that. I just made the point that if Ganguly didn't get tired after 5-6 overs, I would have bowled him much longer spells.
I've seen
I have seen biased people, but I've not seen as much.
Tell us. I mean, this is fantastic to watch, and we've seen the intensity.
By the way, that Vinny is not Roger Vinny, that's Stuart Vinny.
A very important point to make, especially on this day. And coming back to the question, we've seen you on field playing with greats like Rahul, Sachin, and whoever else that you would bat with and have long partnerships with. The intensity with which you played off field, what was it like being in this company of some of the greats that the world of cricket in India has produced, and you being one of them?
We spent so much time away. I remember in the year 2001, I was away for almost 10 months in a year. We played New Zealand, we went to Australia, it was a 4-month tour, then we came back, South Africa was here, and then I went on to play in England for 6 months for county in Lancashire. Sana wasn't there, it was just me and Donna, so she travelled with me and spent a lot of time. But we used to be away from home so much. So whether it's a Sachin, a Rahul, or Sehwag, or a Harbhajan, they were your best friends. You spend so much time with them. So it was not just cricket. It was time after the game. Go to their rooms, have dinner, go out and do some sightseeing. This morning you've seen the Indian team who are in Australia for the World Cup were taking time out of cricket, out of practice. So that is also very important. And I think you build relationships that way, and that remain. And what you saw was just two good friends talking to each other and reliving memories, because we spent a lot of time together. In that generation, when you looked at Sehwag played 100 tests, Rahul played 150 tests, I played 113 tests, Sachin 200 tests, and Lakshman 100 test matches. So all those players were together for a good 14, 15 years of their life. So it's quite natural that they will be friends and they will have a good time. And that was during the tour of England in 2014. Rahul is not a very happy commentator because he doesn't like commentating. He's obviously the head coach of the national team now, but we thoroughly enjoyed his company. Moments which will live with you forever.
And one of the last questions for this fantastic discussion that we're having here. Life as a cricketer for you, we saw you on TV, we saw you live at the ground when we would go as spectators. Life as an administrator is something which was, behind doors, and we wouldn't really see what is happening there. So, what is different in life as a cricketer and life as an administrator?
See, I did 8 years of administration. I was president of CAB for 5 years and was president of the board for 3 years. All this have tenures, have terms, after which you have to leave and which you have to go. But I felt the challenge as a cricketer was a lot more because it was real time. When you do backroom work, sitting in tables and running the game, you have time to correct things. But if you nicked a delivery from Glenn McGrath on the first morning of a test, you were out. You did not have time to correct it. So I think that's a major difference. But when you did administration, you realized that you could contribute so much. You could make things better for a cricketer. And me being a player who played for a long period of time, understood that I was a cricketer's administrator. Yes, you had to take decisions because there's so much happening. There's so much cricket happening, there's so much money around, there's women's cricket, there's domestic cricket. So you had to take calls at times on certain individuals. But I think I thoroughly loved it. If you see the last 3 years in Indian cricket, so many good things have happened. IPL during COVID, which was such difficult times for all of us in this room or all of us in this country. We did not know how to deal with it. Did COVID IPL for that, the broadcast rights, which went to an all-time high. The IPL, which has established the brand all around the world. The under-19s winning the World Cup in the West Indies. That was fantastic. I wish the women won the Commonwealth Games gold. That would have been the first one, although the silver is also the first silver won by the women's team in a Commonwealth. They were in a position to beat Australia that night at Birmingham. The senior team winning in Australia. So these were great moments as an administrator. I hope they do well in Australia now where they are for the T20 World Cup, because this is a tremendous cricket team. There's so much talent, there's so much power, there's so much class in that side. You expect them to win all the time. So it was a great journey, a lot of learning experience. But the challenge of being a player was completely different. So you can't compare both. You can't play forever. You can't be an administrator forever. But it's been great fun doing both and seeing both sides of the coin.
Fantastic. Mr. Ghosh, a few words from you on this big association of Bandhan Bank and Sourav Ganguly coming together.
Look, what is the best alternative? No. So the many very good matching on that. Both the Bandhan Bank and Sourav Ganguly born in Calcutta, grown from Calcutta, and very good matching, know the culture. Both the organization, Sourav Ganguly also have one of the organization. It's the name. So I feel that this is one very good matching on that. As a values wise, understanding wise, and he already mentioned a couple of points which you know that about the other. Second point on that, the similarity, if you see, that also mentioned, no? Bandhan have been grown from the scratch and coming to this position. That also started from this the level, now coming to the which level, and not only that, he is in the BCCI president, is an icon of the world. No, any corner of the world, people know about who is the Sourav Ganguly on this. So this is of course, is a Bandhan as a bank. Every corner of the country, people know that it is a bank. And that is also the similarity on that way. And of course, in the Sourav Ganguly have been, whatever he has been come this position on his merit, his talent. No, his own capacity. And that have been he earned from this, from beginning from this, the playing the game, and the different level has come as a captain, as an administrator, and future he will be like to go another level also. So this is that we can be like to share that experience each other. How the Bandhan also growing on that way, how it can be like to go that level.
You know, I've seen the transformation in sport. When I first played in 1989, I used to get 400 rupees for a cricket match, for Ranji Trophy games. So I've seen that, and I've seen what cricket has become now. So I've seen the entire transformation from this side to that side of the game, and which is so positive. And Mr. Ghosh has also seen the same thing, starting from scratch in Bandhan, as you said, in a small place in Bengal, and getting to where it is. So he's also actually seen the transformation from being a financial institution to one of the most favorite bankers of people around the country. So it's pretty similar. It's the experience and the journey which you go through, and what it takes to be successful. So I think the similarity is from that point of view, because you don't get to these places overnight. You know, you work over a period of time, you go through the grinds, the ups and downs, the good days and the bad days, and then become a successful leader.
And final another point on that is that Sourav is from beginning as a customer of Bandhan Bank. And he knows that the Bandhan Bank, the service, and I hope that he also happy. So that he also agree when we offered this, the tie-up between Sourav Ganguly and Bandhan Bank. So I hope that this is a good match on that both.
Absolutely. Thank you for those comments, Mr. Ghosh. So, two personalities, two brands with origins in Kolkata and West Bengal, one a global icon, the other a national icon, coming together to create this kind of an association. Sourav, any last comments from you on this association before we wind up?
As I said, I'm extremely honored to be a part of this association. I've known him many years before. It's not just because of this association I've met him. I've known his son, and when I was president of CAB, his son is a very fit young boy. So he had come to CAB to be a part of the fitness training, to give him coaches, how he can get fitter. So I've known the family for a long period of time. Wife is here, she's into her own things. They have the foundation. She does a passion of clothing. So I visited her boutiques a couple of times, 4 or 5 years ago. So Mr. Ghosh, my relationship with him is not just Bandhan Bank and Sourav Ganguly. And it's been very
I
personal.
have a personal relationship, no doubt.
It's been very personal over a period of time. I've visited their place in where they live on the EM bypass many a number of times before. So I'm extremely happy that he's thought me good enough to contribute to the growth of this bank. It's very much a Bengali institution, and I am a Bengali as well. So when good things happen to somebody from the state, I really feel honored and proud about it. And I really wish him all the best. He just gets better and better. He's right up with the best banks in the country, and hopefully he can continue. He works as hard as it can be, because every time I meet him, I ask him, how much have you traveled this month? I know there are sometimes he travels 15 days a month, 20 days a month, going around the country, trying to see the business. So the crux of the matter is, good things don't come just sitting at home. You have to go out and reach the people, reach the market, tap the customers, and make sure it happens, rather than from waiting it to happen. So he's a successful person, a person who's built things from scratch on his own, and I wish him all the very best. And hopefully, I don't know what his son is going to do, because he's in England now and he's studying there, and I have my own daughter studying there. They don't want to come back to this part of the world. So hopefully he'll leave a legacy for him to take it forward, because it's not just about Bandhan Bank, it's about 65,000 people who work in this institution. So he has a responsibility now. The future generation will have responsibility to take this forward. You have a responsibility because of being involved with the bank. So it is an institution which brings happiness to 65,000 people. So I think that's something to be very proud of. And I think every day when he gets to office and when he gets back home, he must be telling himself that I've not just set up institutions, not just set up a system where money comes in and money goes out, but I have created futures for so many people and their families. And I think that satisfaction will always remain.
Just to add to that 65,000 happy people, there are 2.65 crore happy customers as well, right? So the number is just humongous. The two stalwarts, origins in Bengal, now joining hands to spread happiness across the country. Sourav Ganguly is the brand ambassador of Bandhan Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Dada. Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Thank you.